Well, hello from me on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and a little bit of intuition and clarity to perhaps root in the new energies of October as we sort of head into the last 3 months of 2018 and this year of the dog. I was going to share this with my tribe in today's newsletter. And I just thought, well, you know what? I've got some time before my 5 o'clock client. And I wanted to just share what came through for me when I sat under the full moon a couple of days ago and asked for help in anchoring in what contribution I can be to life and what life can contribute to me and the collective. So the first thing that came up when I started this activation was the 64th gene key, which is the Aurora. And if you don't know what I'm speaking about, this is the work of, hang on, let me see if I can do this, The Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. And I found this really interesting, seeing what's going on in South Africa and also in the sort of political arena in America, that the 64th gene key, it really is activating the codon ring. So this is the ring of alchemy. It's remembering that we're all magic, that we're all alchemists, and we know how to turn darkness into the light by first acknowledging it. And the shadow part of the 64th gene is about confusion. It's about the chaos of the elements. And we're certainly seeing a lot of that showing up in the world. So just remember that each of the 64th shadows, and I'm reading from this book, is born out of the human mind's tendency to identify with whatever it sees. And that sort of biofeedback loop between the two polarities of the shadow and the light sometimes generates an incredible amount of confusion between what you know intuitively, what you just feel in your bones, and all the sort of chaos and fake news and misidentification of the ego that sort of happens in the macrocosm. So when we kind of go into this, its programming partner of the 64th gene is the 63rd one, which is all about doubt. And here's how it works. You know, it really is, and I'm quoting again, that at any moment your thinking reflects the way in which the inner body is feeling. If your overall frequency is low, you generally feel a kind of background unease throughout your physical, emotional, and mental bodies. So what we're looking at here, without reading the entire chapter for you, is to use the gift of imagination, of futuring, a brilliant future, not just for you, but for the planet, for your family, for your animals, and to stop being reactive, to stop looking at how we project and take on assumptions of others and try and make the lies true. And really go back to nature. You know, the repressive nature of the 64th codon is imitation. You know, where you're suppressing your inherent pain. When in actual fact, I always say this, you need to feel it in order to heal it. So, you know, half the world is repressing their confusion through imitation. You know, you do what your parents do. You don't make waves. You go along with societal laws. And we, you know, the worst part of that is keeping secrets or keeping programs in place through this sort of trifold sequencing systems, all the shock and trauma systems from other lifetimes, and bringing it in to the world now. And it of course just leads to a lot of confusion. So we want to look at how we can use the gift of imagination and the siddhi of illumination, which is for me is very much the energies of October as we sort of transition into new seasons, whether it's winter or summer for you. This is the place where the imagination lives without the identification to the I. So we're really talking about individuation here, and I don't want to lose you or run too long on this, but I wanted to get into the the four elements, you know, the compass direction of what I pulled through under the full moon to really just help you as it is supporting me in moving forward in a good way into the last three months of the year and making it count, remembering that this is the year of the dog. So thinking about what dog energy and dog medicine is, it's about loyalty, it's about being present with what is, it's about making light of heavy situations and bringing in the energy of more play. I know a lot of my clients say to me that they don't know how to play anymore, and I certainly can relate to that. I think we take ourselves way too seriously. So in the direction of east, we always start in the direction of east, which is air and the vision that we want to hold or bring into for October. And the two animal medicines that came up was owl, but it was in reverse. And the second card was rabbit. So, you know, thinking about this element in the chaos theory, owl reversed is really the wisdom of learning always to ask who. You know, think about how an owl communicates with the who. So it's about asking who am I being rather than why first, and looking at, you know, where have you or others deceived you? Where is there some betrayal and some hurt still running underneath the sort of residual anger that's been bubbling up to the surface for so many? I know I've certainly been on the receiving end of that with my husband, who's transitioning out of a position in his business that he's been in for a long time, and there's a lot of fear about what the future holds for him and who he is going to become in the process of unbecoming everything he was in that business, and the identification to his title or position. And so remember, when a card is reversed, it's that the energy hasn't quite turned. So we're in that luminal space right now of looking at, you know, is there sort of psychic or black magic, so to speak, or muti being sort of used against you, or are you using it to help you instead of asking Great Spirit for advice and guidance? And Owl asks us, he's one of my permanent guides in my mindscape, that really reminds me that we're always learning. We're constantly learning things that we don't know, and also deepening into what we do know. So Owl is really asking, in this sort of opposing, you know, reversed position, to befriend the darkness inside us, to bring it into the light in a loving and a compassionate way, and asking, you know, do the shadows work to illuminate your light? Or are you still burying your head in the sand? Are you hiding in the shadows, in the dark? And what are you in the dark? You know, who do you become in the dark? You know, how are you deceiving yourself? I think is the biggest message for Owl in this position of looking at, where are you lying to yourself about yourself or someone or something, and is it a big or a small deception? So take care of your loved ones and yourself in a good way, in a compassionate, caring way. Look after your property. Best way to do that is to remember we don't own anything. We're really just the guardians and the caretakers of our property and the animals that we have in our life. So to really look at that with deep appreciation is a wonderful way to start to look at where you're not tending to the things that you are responsible for. So that's Owl's message in this direction of visioning in a brilliant future. And then dear rabbit, you know, who doesn't love the gentleness of a rabbit, who really is the fear caller. You know, when Rabbit stopped trusting the relationship that he had with his friends in the stories of how Rabbit became so frightened. Rabbit's reminding us in this time of the 64th city of illumination, of looking at what are you truly afraid of? where are you running away from your pain rather than sitting with it and befriending it in a good way? And really to just, stop scaring yourself silly with the imagined what ifs of all the things that could go wrong or aren't happening, or the state of the affairs of everywhere else. And I think rabbit too is such a beautiful medicine to remind us to not be afraid of alchemy, of your magic and your gifts and your capacities, to be a great contribution, to live your life well, and to trust in your own intuition. So stop talking about the horrors of the world and complaining and blaming and shaming, and do something. So after Al says who, or who am I being, it's about then taking aligned action and using the what ifs in the best possible scenario, that the universe is there to support you, to trust that you have everything that you need to journey onwards, and stop worrying about the future. Feel into your fears, really breathe into them, and look at where are you hiding in your body, aspects of the shadow or aspects of a story or a trauma that you haven't quite resolved or found peace with. And release it to Mother Earth for recycling. She knows what to do with it. So that is the message from both Al and Rabbit in the direction of East and the vision that you're holding for yourself going forward. Then we moved on to the direction of the South, and this is all about fire and action, just like Rabbit said, do something with the who, right? The cards or the medicine that came up were horse, and who doesn't love horse medicine? Horses stand for play and trust in the eyes that are on you, so that you can rest, because you're leaning into the power of the collective, the power of your herd or your tribe or your village or your community. And it's about power, again, personal power. Horse reminds us to fly like the unicorn, like the winged horse that brings so much joy into the world. And you know what? Horse always says to me, don't ask for a lighter load, ask for a stronger back. Horses know how to endure. They have carried us through territories. They have sheltered us. They've given us warmth and food, and they've been on our journey with us for centuries. So look at how are some of the ways that you can create heaven on earth and enter into this darkness of the 64th gene key, to find and illuminate the truth, your truth, and the light of what you came in here to share with the world. Find balance. This is another great message from horse energy, is to find balance between work and play. This is something that I'm constantly having to be really committed to. Being a recovering perfectionist and loving my work, I often tend to not move and play, and just for the sake of playing, without feeling like it has to be justified in some way. So again, horse reminds us that there's nothing to hide and nothing to prove. It's just be present and make the best out of whatever is showing up for you. And of course, don't abuse your power. We're seeing such a misabuse of power in the sort of political arenas. And horse reminds us that if we want wisdom, we have to be in our humanity, to be humble, to know that even though we're playing a small part, to make the most of it and find a way to give, find a way to heal the brokenness that's becoming visible more and more, with a very active heart in feeling into the pain of the earth and all the other creatures that we share the earth with, and nature, the trees and the foods that are grown in the earth. How do we honor the earth in a good way, and share our gifts to step into our personal power center? Because that's the only way to enlightenment, to liberation or individuation. We have to use wisdom as the gateway to really own and acknowledge our personal power. So remember, that you're on this journey with others, and some wise teacher of mine many years ago said to me, Sarah Jane, never forget the people that helped you along the way. And I think that's something that we so often forget when we're feeling in our power center, and how so many are falling off with this misabuse of power. That's all sort of driven by the ego. So just remember, who you're being, and move toward that in a way that is very reverent of the compass directions of Earth, of Grandmother Moon, and Father Sky, and Mother Earth, in a good way. And I think that's really where Butterfly, who came in this action of fire, it's like the last phase of the caterpillar, turning to mush, and then coming out of the cocoon and putting blood into its wings as it dries. Butterfly reminds us to be patient, to not force or rush things, and also the beautiful gift of transformation, that is so air. It's really about shape shifting, and that would come through in that wood element of Chinese medicine, of being flexible in how you're establishing your boundaries, to be the authority of your own life, and know the mind, and employ the mind to work for you, so that you can change the things that aren't working. And look at, where are you? Where are you in your transformational journey? What stage of evolution are you in? Are you a larva, or are you the fully fledged butterfly that's ready to go out and procreate? So, if you're in the cocoon stage, know that it's about going within. It's about doing something to make an idea into a reality, like a project or a persona that you maybe have been delaying because you don't feel like you're in divine timing. If you're leaving the chrysalis, it's about sharing your colors in the world, sharing your dreams and the joy of creation, of what you're creating in the world. And if you're in the egg stage, are you just in that stage of multiplying the cells of a thought or an idea, ready to sort of hatch out and share that, and to just remember that the spiral path is a never-ending practice where you're constantly learning, you're constantly shape-shifting. And a good question to ask is, where am I on my journey? What cycle of life am I in? And use the air of butterfly that takes flight, and trust that the wind, will support her. It's a very mental process, right? In order to action things, we need to engage the mind to give us what we need to turn it into a physical actualization. And we need the mental acuity to help us organize projects with clarity. So again, coming back to the 64th gene key, it's about making clarity out of confusion in your life. So, what colors, notice what colors are you drawn to? If you're drawn to green, everything is blooming. My first roses are in blush, and all the leaves on the trees are this beautiful, bright, brilliant green. And last night I actually heard bats that are in some of my fruit trees using this beautiful dance to just sort of anchor in this time of spring and renewal. So, if you're feeling drawn to green, maybe that's your body asking you to feed it more live, green, plant-based food. If you're being drawn to the colors of autumn, all these oranges and yellows, do you need to perhaps nourish your body with some root vegetables that are going to just sort of draw your energy down, like trees do in winter, to feed the root system during the cold months. So just ask, what is my next step? And ask the guides of butterfly and horse to support you in galloping or flying toward that. And just know that, you're ready to undergo some type of transformation, because butterfly showed up in this direction of the south and the vision, the action step of taking your visions to the next step. So what is your next move is a great question to ask yourself as you move forward into the energies of October and the next 3 months of the year. Then we move to, hi, Nikki and Anne. It's so nice to see some of you here. Reminds me of creative energy. Yes, Anjana. It does. So moving into the direction of west, we're looking at water. This is about money and abundance, and our journey from the south to the west is the rite of passage always. So this is where we can call on our ancestors that have gone before us and died well and lived well and left us through storytelling, the wisdom of our ancients. So first card that came up for the direction of west was dog. And of course, we love dog medicine. Again, it's about loyalty. And this is the medicine of dog, is really here to teach us how to be true and loyal friends, how to be loyal to the causes and the things that matter to us, and to express our truth about what motivates us to contribute to the things that we really, really care about. So think about the medicine of dog. I'm looking at mine sitting here. This is about, if you think about some of the jobs that dog through the centuries have been here to teach us. They're about loyalty, like I said, and service, but they're also incredibly good at warning us about any kind of imminent danger. There's dogs that can sniff out cancers in bodies. Just think about how many dogs are out there in service in the world, and just send some appreciation to them, because they give us companionship. They love us even when we're not in the best mood. And they're always sort of showing us how we can serve others in a better way and align ourselves toward that way of serving. So, stay loyal to yourself. I think that's one of the messages the dog has always taught me, is that I have to be a trustworthy leader. And dog is the first one to tell us that if we're not being the leader, we're not safe to be around. So look at where can you create deeper trust that you are safe, that the world is a safe place, and go deeper into how. Remember owl saying who and rabbit saying how? Go there and look at how you can readily activate your sense of loyalty, and where you're perhaps negating that because of your need for approval, right? If you've ever seen a needy dog, it's quite a disquieting energy to be with someone that's constantly needy. So look at where you've perhaps moved out of alignment with your true north because you feel undeserving or unworthy, or you feel like you need something more before you can actually be that. And I think dog also reminds us to look at, have you cared more about what others think and lost your way? Or have you denied or ignored someone who's a loyal friend that's asking for you to support them? Where have you got so busy in your mind that you're not being present, like dog is, patient, persistent, ever loyal? And look at, have you been loyal to yourself? Have you been loyal to your goals and your visions, or have you got lost in all the noise and the chaos outside of you? The second card I drew for the direction of west is little squirrel. And again, I always say to my clients when we're using animal medicine or animal totems to support us on our journey is look to the physical qualities of the animal first. If you think about squirrel, he darts around. He's very focused on his mission, especially when the winter months are coming. You see them hoarding up, a good stock, a good harvest to see them through the cold winter months. And I think, again, one of the most amazing lessons that squirrel reminds us of is to never take more than we need. I know the Ashuan people, the women especially, are horrified when they look to the Western world and see how we're not, as women, telling the men to stop hunting, to stop gathering because we have enough, to stop chopping down the trees. And I think as women, it's becoming more and more urgent that that we step up to the plate and say enough is enough of the consumerism, of the over, just the amount of waste, right, that we're creating in the world, and saying no to plastics, saying no to overwrapping fresh produce in plastic, and putting our no in where our buying power is going, to support your local farmers market, or to support and also buy local. This thing of flying vegetables across the world and eating out of season, not only is it bad for your body, to go away from that sort of Ayurvedic or traditional Chinese medicine feeding cycle by eating things that are out of season, but we're contributing to just more waste and more carbon footprint. So, squirrel always says, plan ahead for the winter. Celebrate the harvest, never take more than you need, but plan ahead. And of course, as I said, the ability to dart around, to move quickly when we need to, is squirrel medicine. And also to honor your future by readying yourself for change. That way there's no confusion and there's no irrational fear, because you're preparing, first of all, by trusting your intuition, by trusting your animal body, that your body knows what it needs and that it'll do whatever it takes to thrive, even in lean times. But also to lighten your load. When squirrel gathers nuts, he doesn't carry them around in his big old pouches. He stores them in a way that they don't go off, and that he can dip into in times when food is scarce. So, squirrel is such a beautiful reminder to just have peace of mind by caring about the greater good of all resources, and to just trust that all your needs are met. Everything is going to show up in aligned and divine timing. So just to trust yourself. I hope you're enjoying this. Give me some yeses if you're liking this. It's always fun for me to share some of the ways that I create ritual for myself. But give me a yes. Send me some love or some hearts if you're enjoying this this forecast for October with animal medicine, as we sort of move from the direction of west to north. We're always wanting to be aligned to our own true north, to our own North Star. And this is where the structure happens. This is where we have visions and we have plans. The north is very deeply rooted into the earth energies. And it's about staying grounded, staying deeply rooted to our individual purpose and how we can contribute to the whole. And the first animal medicine that came up was dragonfly. And if you haven't already, I have a beautiful meditation on my SoundCloud account, which I'll post below if you want to take a journey with dragonfly. And you can see, you know, the various stages of dragonfly. Again, it's about creating heaven on earth, right? The larva starts in the water and makes its journey up into the air as a fully fledged dragonfly. So this is about how to stay grounded and be light at the same time, right? The if you think about the infinity sign, this is about being the bridge between heaven and earth. So dragonfly always reminds us to see the truth, not what is true for somebody else, but what's true for you. There's a difference between your truth and that truth. So this is about breaking any illusions of restriction, of places where you're holding back or limiting yourself or going into resistance. And dragonfly gives us the clarity to see things almost like eagle from a bird's eye perspective. I mean, if you've ever watched a dragonfly, the way he dances across the water, it's just the most incredible dance where he's almost like celebrating the water and celebrating the air at the same time. So dragonfly reminds us to stay aligned to our purpose and our vision and tap into the wisdom with absolute clarity. And also to be able to, again, adaptability. So there's been quite a theme on this reading about emotional and physical agility, of where we need to be more flexible, where we need to let go of some of the things that we're holding on to that is weighing us down, that we cannot take flight, just like butterfly energy. You know, where is the transition, and where are you holding yourself back from using the winds of change to really move forward and tend to your garden, you know, water your own personal internal climate. You know, those people that always say, oh, you know, they're looking for the grass is always greener on the other side. No, your grass will be green if you water it. So this is really about watering the seeds that you've planted, and tapping into the forgotten, you know, the ancient wisdom, things that you've forgotten about yourself, things you've forgotten that were wins for you, and spending some time appreciating that and looking at some of the old belief systems and lies and limitations and bad habits that you've created, because perhaps once you needed that habit or that coping mechanism to get you through whatever it was you're getting through, but you don't need it anymore. All right, so that's the beautiful energy of dragonfly. And in completion, the last card for the North was Badger. And I love this energy. I've actually seen a couple of my friends that have horse farms that are sort of going into how winter, that see Badger is also really preparing for winter and the cold months ahead. And I think badger medicine, we have a honey badger here, and he is formidable. You know, he is fearless. And I love to bring badger medicine in with honey badger in, because he's formidable, you know, because he's very grounded in the task at hand. He stays very present in his process. And badger reminds us to just know our own inner soul power. So again, I love doing these medicine card readings where we go around the medicine wheel, because you see certain themes that are starting to pick up and patterns that we're being invited into holding space for this month of October. So, you know, the other one is you got to know your own inner soul power. Okay, we had that medicine in all the directions from all the animals today. And badger, honey badger, it's about fighting for what you want aggressively, you know, and you can do that in a very kind, compassionate way. And it starts with healthy, strong boundaries. So, you know, badger is the keeper of the medicine roots. So it's just like, what are you rooting into? Right? What wisdom are you using to nourish the roots and send out those tap roots so that you can connect with other people that are aligned with your vision, mission, and purpose in order to heal not just our personal selves, but on a global scale, right? But the unconsciousness of a lot of the world that is still asleep, and bring light again on the 64th gene code, right? It's about illuminating the shadows, speaking in a good way, not an antagonistic way, but in a way that people can hear you, so that they can see that there are other choices available that are kinder, not just to themselves, but to the earth and the animals as well. And this is very interesting too, because we have to, Badger uses very unconventional means to heal. And his message to us, his medicine is, you have to be willing to persist. So you have to commit, and then use the 3 P's that I teach in the trust process of presence, patience, and persistence. The 3 P's are the roots of healing, right? Are the roots of transformation. And Badger reminds us to not give up. You know, so stop. If you're finding yourself that you're in that sitting and waiting, stop, right? Because the world's waiting for you and what only you have to give to the world your way. So do something. Use your anger in a creative way. Look underneath the anger and see, where are you hurting? Where are you feeling betrayed or hurt or denied or rejected? Whatever it is for you, and have zero tolerance to the victim, to, you know, the archetype of the victim or the martyr, and use anger to stop the inertia. Okay. We have to take aligned action. So use your healing to push ahead and cut away any dead wood that is ready to be cut away. I woke up this morning after our first summer storm last night to find that my beautiful ancient apricot tree that's outside my bedroom window had fallen down. And when I looked inside the base of the trunk, there was just a huge hive of nests that had eaten away and weakened the structural integrity of that tree that was just in full bloom. And the little apricots that I always harvest in December are not going to be. So, you know, I spent some time looking at that and looking at the feeding cycle of life, which sometimes seems to be quite harsh. And just move back into the appreciation for all that tree has given over its 20 something years of being and growing and staying strong and weathering so many storms, that took its final breath. And I shall honor it by planting a new tree in its place. So that is your forecast through animal medicine that I did over the full moon. I hope you found it supportive. I hope you found it helpful. And if you're new to animal wisdom and how to use animal guides to keep you aligned to your soul's purpose, let me know if you enjoyed it. And I'd love to hear one thing. Just write down in the comments one thing you're committing to see through in October, and that you're ready to share with the world. I'd love to hear what that is. And wherever you are, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, the last days of September, and perhaps use this as an anchor or a focal point for you to really set some good intentions and aligned action that you're going to take in October to really end your year of 2018 stronger than before. And I'll speak to you soon. Lots of love. Bye.